r/BlackholeRevenge. I signed my ex-boyfriend up for the Church of Scientology. I saw that it was a funny trend to sign people up for random email lists and spam them, but I decided to take this a step further because he really burnt me in the past. I went to our local Church of Scientology's website and saw where you could input your personal information to receive messages from the church. Since I had most of this information from our time being together, I filled it out under his name. I did this with a few more churches of Scientology as well. I thought that this would only be a minor inconvenience with a few puzzling, harmless emails, but it turned out to be much worse. Recently, I saw that he posted on his Instagram that he was deleting all of his social media due to privacy reasons. At first, I didn't think much of it, but after a while, I started to wonder if there was any connection to what I had put in the Church of Scientology's website. So out of curiosity, I later decided to bite the bullet and DM him on Instagram in the hopes that he hadn't deactivated his account. A few minutes later, he responded, saying that he needed a break from social media. Ultimately, he told me to not worry about it, and that he was going to delete his Instagram, 10K followers, later that night. I figured I was off the hook. A few weeks later, I was with a mutual friend of ours, and she updated me on his situation. Apparently, him and his family had been contacted by the Church of Scientology. Supposedly, they actually expressed interest. The mutual friend said that she hadn't seen him in a while and none of his friends had heard from him in over a month. She said that it seemed like he was cutting off everybody. I just received word that he's dropping out of school after the semester ends, and his family is moving to live with other church members. I know I technically signed him up for this, but I had no idea it would get this bad. He honestly deserved it after everything he did. I can't exactly state what he did in caution that this post would get removed, just know it was pretty fucked up and me and a friend of mine had to see a therapist. Cheating on me? Get HIV then. This is not my story. I just saw this on Facebook and though this might fits here. So this story belongs to a Chinese man, I just translate it. English is not my first language so please be kind to me. I'll put the Facebook link down below in the comment section. I've suffered for at least 6 months, finally I can push her into the darkest pit of hell. It's a long story, so let me light up a cigarette and tell you all about it. I met my girlfriend when we were on a same vacation tour back in 2006. The first time our eyes met, I've made a promise to myself that I have to make her my girlfriend. The process wasn't hard by any mean, I just poured my truest, deepest love out to her, to make her moved by my true feelings. I loved her, I truly, really loved her. But due to my job, I had to travel a lot. Sometimes I would be away from home for 15 days to a month. About 6 months ago, I noticed she had been showing signs of a cheater. She's always tried to hide away from me when she was on her phone, either if she was texting or calling someone. I just lay my eyes on her phone and she would turn it off. I can almost confirm that she was cheating but I didn't have any kind of evidence. I have an email account that had been logging in for a good while but rarely use, and then one day there were hotel bills sent to this email. I checked the emails and some other things and found out there were some note lines about the bills. After that there was nothing left to clarify. But one man's soul can't truly die when he haven't dead. Me and some friends had found out about the man she had been freaking with and the hotel's location. The first thing I felt when her cheating on me was confirmed was anger. I was furious, not a bit of heartbreaking. It is the feeling when you wanted someone to die, gone, disappeared. I wanted her to suffer and die. So reality has proved that money can solve anything. I found the way to contact the other man, his WeChat, it's like Facebook for Chinese, to be exact. I have friends that really talented, smart people, if I could tell. I made friend with a doctor back in August last year. I told him my story and what was my plan, also sprinkled in a bit of "you can have benefit out of this too, of course I'll pay the money." He made up his mind for a few days and then gave me contacts of some female patients that have HIV. There was no mention about the strict policy in the hospital about patients' privacy. Out of 3 patients I've met, only 1 agree. Most of the ones who have HIV haven't had a clean life. When you have the money, you really can control the devil himself. I gave her the other man's contact and an amount of fee, and required her in the shortest time she could, give him HIV. This modern life make it really easy for a woman to sleep with a man. It only took her 5 days. I worried that only one night wasn't enough for him to have HIV, so I asked her to be his FWB for a while, and gave her 15,000 UN, 2150 USD. My girlfriends still haven't known anything. She did really fall for him. I knew it since reading her texts. About 2 weeks before Tet, she had a fever. A terrible, agonizing fever. I knew she already had HIV. We did had sex but I had my condom on. I told her to go to the hospital but due to my job, I had to be away for several days so I couldn't cut it to the hospital with her. I would pay a fortune to see her face. When she found out about the HIV though. After 2 days I went home and saw her being upset and all, and then after asking my friend at the hospital, it is confirmed that she has HIV. I was ecstatic but I played it cool. I was the dumb boyfriend that haven't know anything. She didn't know that I already got the info about her HIV. We're still being together for now. I want to witness with my own eyes her being slowly dying on the hospital bed. That's all. If there's anything happened I'll tell you later. Cheat on my daughter. How about I make you fail the most important exam of your life? 5 years ago, my daughter, Allison, started dating her now ex, Chris. They seemed happy together, and I started to like him. However, they slowly started to drift apart, and he started acting distant to her. Allison would sometimes come to me crying that they barely spoke anymore. Eventually Allison discovered that Chris was cheating on her. My first boyfriend cheated on me, so I know how terrible it feels to be cheated on. She called me crying, because after she confronted him, he yelled at her, and called her a bitch. Chris came over to my house and tried to spin a line of bullshit about how Allison was crazy, and was cheating on him, but she already called me and showed me screenshots of his conversations with other girls. This was where I got an idea to give him what he deserves. He decided to waste years of my daughter's life and make her cry, so I decided to do the same to him. I pretended I was on his side, and reassured him that Allison was being unreasonable. After he left, I told Allison my plan and she was all in. Chris went to a really good college on a $40,000 scholarship. He was all set to graduate college with a great degree, no debt, and a very high-paying job. In order to renew the scholarship, he had to pass this exam to renew his scholarship. One thing to know about Chris was that he loved food. He was 6'2", and I've seen him eat enormous amounts of food. And I was a good cook, and he loved my food, especially my brownies. So the day before the exam I baked him brownies. Unfortunately for him they were laced with a box of laxatives. I also put laxatives in his coffee. The next morning he drinks his coffee and eats half of the brownies I made. I'd say he ingested about 20 doses. As if that wasn't enough, he took several more brownies to eat on the way to the exam. He ended up failing the exam, and couldn't afford to go to college. Apparently he got super ill and had to go to the bathroom several times during the exam. I decided to gift him the rest of the brownies as a present in order to make him feel better. He probably had diarrhea throughout the rest of the week. Failing this exam completely changed the trajectory of his life. He was going to go get a degree at a prestigious university, but now he has a low-paying job working minimum wage.